I don't know where my place is in Star Wars anymore, man.
Crazy Stupid Podcast.
Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if this is your first time watching, we'd love it if you could hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell so that you are aware of when we post things.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Crazy Stupid Podcast. My name is Esther.
And I'm Adrian. First and foremost, I think it just needs to be said, Disney is in a creative rut, and I am concerned that we will continue to get less and less original stories. And I think Disney will continue to play it safe. And what I mean by that is not just returning to old characters and revisiting old actors in old stories with reboots and sequels. I think they'll also play it safe racially as well. Because I am seeing a trend in the kind of stories that they keep on canceling. And not just canceling like, we're not going to come back for it. I'm talking about like completely eradicating it. Like when they had Willow, which I know people had mixed feelings about the show Willow. They just completely removed it off of Disney Plus. With the Acolyte, well, this is my concern. They removed all of their merchandise stuff from the website, which is a similar process that they did with Willow. And so now people are worried, are you going to do the same thing with Acolyte? Here's my issue with this. These bigots made it really difficult to critique the Acolyte. It had flaws, but anytime you spoke on it, you were kind of getting lumped into this other group of people. And I felt like that was extremely unfair. And I felt like for some reason, algorithms like on YouTube are not able to differentiate people who are trying to review things in a very objective way versus people that are just trying to be a bigot, because they sort of lump these two things together and it creates a weird pipeline for people, and it's just extremely dangerous, especially for young men. Here's where my concern is. I understand the more profit side of things with the Acolyte conversation. They didn't have a lot of viewers. The reason why I don't understand this Acolyte conversation is, as much as I love Andor, and I think Andor is the best Star Wars we've ever gotten since the originals, arguably. Some may say that, but the viewership for Andor was not that much higher than Acolyte.
No, don't scare me now.
It wasn't. It already got renewed for season 2. We're safe with it. But the reality is the conversation was not just about viewership. Now, yes, some of it was quality. Like obviously Andor is like above and beyond most of the Star Wars TV show stuff that we've gotten. But I also think there was an element of, we are going to accept this risk that we are taking with this new show. And I felt like they just were not willing to do that with the Acolyte. And the reason why I say that is part of that comment I think I showed you about that Bob Iger made, where he was like, we're focusing too much on messaging and less about stories. I'm sorry, but that kind of feels like a dog whistle to me, bro. It feels like Disney is kind of conceding to that very small, loud fan base and saying, we feel like we cannot make a profit unless we appease you or consistently include you in the kind of stories that we're telling. And because they get so loud with it, they make all these tons of YouTube videos. They send hate messages on the actors' social media accounts. They review bomb consistently. I know it doesn't mean that much but for people who are not like, chronically online, they'll probably look at that and be like, oh, this show's probably not that good. Like if they look at the IMDb just casually, that might turn people away. I don't know, man. I don't like the direction we're going. I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm like, you had a direction that you could have gone with and gave this a chance. What's wild though is like, Clone Wars, when it first entered on the scene, people didn't like that either. The critics and the fans. Y'all not slick. I remember those fan reviews. Y'all hated that stuff also. And y'all didn't like Ahsoka when she first came out. So let's stop the cap with that kind of revisionist history. Y'all did not like Ahsoka when she first came onto the scene. But nonetheless, there's this idea of like, they were at least letting it get the chance to grow, right? Because by the end of the Acolyte, even with all the concerns that I had, I was like, oh, this is promising. They're taking us in a new direction and now we'll never get to see it. How is that not disappointing? And now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, outside of Andor, and this is the last season, by the way. So once this season 2 is done with Andor, I'm looking around, I'm like, what is even left for me to care about with Star Wars? Nothing. I'm sorry, but I don't feel anything for Mandalorian anymore. They're announcing this movie. I mean, keep it stacked with y'all. I don't really care. I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are great, but sometimes the writing is not as hot as y'all trying to make it seem. It's not. It don't be hitting for me. I'm sorry. And then they talk about this Rey movie. We already saw how y'all treated them with those actors in the sequels, and I don't even know if that movie's gonna go through.
But didn't Rey have 3 movies already,
bro? It's a mess. It's a mess. So I don't really know where to go. I don't even know what to look forward to anymore as a Star Wars fan. And it feels like y'all caved in, Disney, to a loud, small, toxic group of fanboys. And the reason why I feel that is they feel extremely vindicated right now. Go look at Amanda Stenberg's Instagram posts and see what kind of comments that they leave in under her Instagram posts. Them fools feel vindicated right now. And I think that that's just disappointing, man. It feels like they won in the gatekeeping on who can exist in the fandom.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
But it's just one show. Like I feel like Andor would elicit similar complaints from them as the Acolyte.
Well, here's the thing, though. Personally, I think the message just went over their heads. And listen, I think just quite frankly, if you are racist, if you're homophobic, if you're transphobic, I also think like you're low-key like anti-intellectual and you're kind of dumb because you're not able to cognitively put two and two together. And I have seen comments from people that like, oh, I just got around to Andor. So glad they didn't put that woke BS in the story, which I'm just like, so I don't know where my place is in Star Wars anymore, man. It's feeling weird because I was also on the fence with where Marvel's heading. It's just been kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Maybe this is unpopular. But I am wondering if like, maybe this is just the natural result of these universes. Like these really long, drawn out universes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when a show goes on for too long, you know, like there's always like a sweet spot when it's like peak and like this is when you should let it go. And then it goes on for too long and it's like, okay, like we can tell you're just kind of like sucking this idea dry right now.
It's when it jumped the shark a little bit.
You know?
Yeah.
I feel like we all might benefit from being able to say goodbye to some of these universes.
To an extent, I see what you're saying. It just kind of sucks because there is so much story that you could tell while using the medium of fictional characters. I just feel like Disney, they don't really commit. Like, I think they'll commit to like Black Panther because they took a gamble and they didn't even want to do it, by the way, if I get to push them. But if that thing didn't do well, we probably wouldn't get that either. I don't know. We appreciate y'all's support. And as always, we'd love it if you all could hit that like button and the subscribe button and the bell so that you are alerted when we post things. And with that, we will see you all next time, y'all. Peace out.
Were you looking for the word notified?
Okay. Well, okay. I'm leaving that in. It needs y'all to know how much of a page you